Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.
The SparkFile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Oh, welcome to the Spark File, your one-stop podcast for creative inspiration.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I'm Susan Blackwell. If you're joining us for the first time, you are so welcome.
Welcome.
You may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File? Where do I get one?
Yeah.
What do I file in it? These are good questions. Laura, we actually have answers.
We do, Susan. We have answers. A Spark File is a place where you consistently collect all of your inspirations and fascinations. And if you're like us and you're making stuff all the time, sometimes the wellspring of inspiration can run a little dry, frankly. That's why we are here to refill it.
We are on the lookout for fresh ideas, images, and inspirations that spark our creativity and pique our curiosity, things that inspire us to get off our asses and make things like this podcast.
Or a vehicle for your deepest self-expression.
Or a project that weaves together everything you're passionate about into one weird, awesome package.
Yes. Every episode, we're going to reach into the Spark File and exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we're going to talk to some folks who spark us as well.
And if you're not careful, your wig might fly off.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's open up
The Spark File. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, new listeners. This is so exciting. We're so happy that you found us and that we found you.
Welcome. We're calling today's episode is a little bit of a special.
It's an anomaly.
Right out of the box, a special
weird
episode. We're calling this episode the Spark File 101.
That's right.
It's the basics, bitches, from two basic bitches. JK.
Hey, speak for yourself.
It's everything you needed to know about you that you never knew you needed to ask.
That's
about
right.
this podcast
That's
and
right.
us and everything ever. We're going to answer all of your questions. This is sort of like back to school Spark File orientation.
Yes, it is.
So here we go. Let's crack open some Q's. Let's rock some A's. Cams, I'm going to ask the first question that's come in.
The first question that's come in from us.
Who are you people?
Oh, who are you?
Who are you, Cams?
Susan, I am a person. I'm a creative person.
Your name's Laura Camion.
My name is Laura Camion.
Yeah.
Yes, let's get that straight.
Basics.
Right away. My name is Laura Camion. I identify myself as a writer, screenwriter, playwright, sometime performer, author, communications person, really. I've done most of my work as VP of Communications for Blue Man Group and wrote the Blue Man Group. I like that. I like that art form.
the art of communication.
That's right. So I have also been known occasionally to be a producer. I have produced a little show both on and off Broadway called Title of Show.
Yes, that's
which
a good
you
show.
might recall you starred in.
Oh, that's right. I was so good in that.
You were so good in that.
Yeah.
But I think, most importantly, I am a longtime friend of Susan Blackwell's. I think that's an important
Is that the first
way.
bullet on your
Not
resume?
the first, but the third.
Yeah, that's under special skills. Ooh.
But we've been friends for a long time. You know that. Our creativity, paths have crossed on many, many occasions. The wires have gotten crossed and tangled.
They're crossing again in a
And here they are.
podcast form. I'm trying to think. Anything else about you?
Not that I can think of.
If you think of anything, just jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Susan?
My name is Susan Blackwell.
Yes.
She, her, hers. I am a Broadway film and television actor.
Yes, you are.
I'm a writer. I am a teacher specializing in creativity and communication. I'm an interviewer.
That's right.
For about 10 years, I've had a show on Broadway.com called Side by Side by Susan Blackwell, which is just a bag of baloney.
Yeah.
That I'm very proud of it, but come on. Come on. It's the
serious
best
work.
Best
It's serious
bag of baloney
journalism
ever.
right there.
And then I'm also a podcaster.
It turns out we're both podcast hosts. What?
Who knew?
We needed a little something for our resume. Spice it up.
That's a little bit about who we are. And you and I have been friends for about 20 million
Some years.
Yeah.
That's right.
And like you said, we've done a lot. Your peanut butters and my chocolate. We've done a lot of shit together. And
Kinda
now
stuck together now.
we're doing more.
And now we're doing more stuff together.
I've just farted on Cammy. I've farted on you for 20 years. I didn't sit on her and fart. I
Not that close, but
I was
in
the room.
proximity.
And it came out,
Yeah.
and it's okay. We all lived.
Is it?
Nobody burst into. If that's the deal breaker,
It's not. It's not.
Good.
It's not.
good.
Here's a good question, Susan. How will our listeners tell us apart?
I don't mean to put you in a box.
Well,
I don't want to mischaracterize you.
bust out of it.
The
Say the
Kool-Aid
word.
man. That's a
Who
reference
are you
for the
calling a picture of
kids.
Kool-Aid?
Did you just call me a picture of Kool-Aid?
How dare you?
I feel like your voice is like silkier.
Oh, contraire.
I don't want to put you in that box though, because I don't know that that's
Is that true?
okay. Now you're. Ugh. I feel like my voice sounds like this.
It's not true. That's not the way to tell
If
us
somebody's going for cheap laughs at the expense of myself or others, that's probably me.
apart. I was going to say, if someone is like starting to cry and tearing up, that might be me.
I don't know. I feel like
But then
I
you
cry
do too.
all the time.
So yeah, there's really no way. And I don't know if it matters. Susan likes to cuss a little bit more than I do.
Slightly.
I don't dislike it, just for the record. It's just that I'm highly trained.
I actively enjoy it.
I'm totally trained to just switch out the words. When you say shit, we're making shit. What will come out of my mouth is we're making stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's the way it is. So
Yeah.
you might be able to tell it. If someone's cursing, I'd bet on Susan, but it's
But you
not
never know.
impossible that it
But
could
you
be me.
it's a safe bet that every episode of this will have explicit content. We're
That's
going to
right.
check that box.
We should warn you if that bothers you.
This is not your podcast.
That's right.
I got a two-parter here. The first part is, what is a spark? The follow-up is, what is a spark file?
Oh shit. Okay. Look what I did. See? Already broke the rule.
That's right.
A spark, in my mind, a spark is that idea that kind of gets your juices flowing, that thing that lights you up, that when people say wow, you just lit up, when you're talking about something that you're excited, you're passionate about, you literally light up
Yeah.
from the inside.
Yeah.
So that spark When we talk about sparks, we're talking about sparks of inspiration, sparks that would lead to creativity of us, being creative in some way, in any way. It could be
So many ways.
Yeah, in so many ways. And we are inclusive of all the ways.
All the ways.
of
Sparks
creativity.
can come in so many forms. Like now, Laura and I. P.S. I also say P.S. all the time. That's how you know it's me. If
that's
somebody just
Susan.
said P.S., it's Susan Blackwell, and I apologize for it now.
That is so true.
And buckle your seatbelts. I say
Truer
it,
words have never
like I say
been
it,
spoken.
I'm so self-conscious. I say it 70 million times a day. I'm gonna see if I can break that habit. Probably won't. Sorry, everybody.
P.S. She's going to try.
Okay. Postscript. Maybe if I'll just start saying
No,
postscript.
please don't. That's worse.
So what were we saying?
Oh, you were saying sparks. Now, since we started.
Since we
yeah.
started this project, we have always been creative people as long as we've
true.
known each other. Very creative.
This is true.
Doing this project has opened my eyes. I am constantly looking for sparks everywhere, and they come in so many forms. Like the theme song, it could be something that I want to make or how I want to be.
That's right.
And it really is. I could see like a mural painted on the side of the wall, and I could think, I'm not a great painter, but I like the idea of that, and I'd like to take that and do something like that with that curio cabinet I got at a garage sale.
That's right.
Or I might have a conversation with a guest, and they might have like a certain way that they're brave in terms of their relationship to their family or something like that. And I'll be like, oh, I want to be like that.
That's right.
There are so many ways that sparks avail themselves to us. So it's anything I feel like that inspires you, gives you a visceral feeling in your body.
That's right.
Like Cam's said, lights you up. I
Lights
know what
you
I was going
up.
to say.
Yeah,
I have
what?
a lot of names for Laura Camion, so that I could just call her Laura. I could call her Cams. I could call her Camion. I could call her Little Baby Cams. Stop throwing up in
My
your mouth.
favorite. Little baby Cams.
Little baby Cams.
I'll answer to all of them.
And the follow-up question: what is a spark file?
What is a spark file? So,
I learned this from you.
well, I can't take credit for it, but I don't know where I learned it. I think it's an idea that's out there that sparked me.
Great.
I already had one, but I didn't name it the spark file until I learned of this term. But it's essentially a receptacle for all of your ideas, little scraps of paper where you've jotted something down or overheard some conversation on the subway, whatnot, articles you read. I used to collect them, back in the day. Grandma used to collect them in a little file folder, and I still have a bunch of those. But now I do it digitally for the most part because it's super easy. I personally use Evernote.
Not a sponsor, but we wish you would be.
Evernote, we're calling you. You will be sponsoring the Spark File because I think Evernote's amazing. You can just email like articles you read,
I gotta
whatever.
get into that.
Yeah, I actually need to learn it like even more because I'm sure I'm not
All that
utilizing
functionality.
it. Yeah. But anyway, that's what a
But it
Spark
could be
File
in a little
is.
notebook you carry
Could
around.
be a notebook. And I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit both because I love an old school journal. I like pencil and paper. And so I do that too.
You're a little bit country. You're a little bit rock and roll.
That's right. That's
You're a
right.
little bit
Leather
journal.
and lace over
You're a
here.
little bit Evernote.
Leather and lace. Yeah. So that's me. And so I keep stuff in both places. But what about you, Blackwell?
I mostly keep my Spark File. For a long time, I kept it in a contact in my phone. And it was called, I had a few quotes I love, ideas to remember.
Yep.
You
All
know,
that
and I
stuff,
just
yeah.
like would throw a link in or throw a quote in or just like jot a quick
Yes.
note. And now I think I sort of keep it in my Google Drive. I've sort of consolidated all those lists into my Google Drive.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So there's nothing worse than like, where did I was inspired by something and I put it somewhere.
Yeah. And you can't get back to it. So
That's right.
That's what a Spark File is. It's sort of like a consistent receptacle or receptacles where you throw all those little pieces of inspiration so that you can make your way back to them and maybe make something out of them.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. Susan, who's this podcast for?
I think you jumped.
Well, we just did. Where did you keep your Spark file? And then
You're right.
Then I got the sense that you were waiting for me, so I just
You're
asked your
right.
question.
I'm wrong. Okay. All right. Here's a question. Who is this podcast for? See, I just used a different emphasis, so it seems fresh.
It's a totally fresh question.
Who is this podcast for, Camian?
This podcast is for anyone who is creative or would like to bring more creativity into their life. It's for the seasoned professional who would like to restock their fish pond of ideas.
Yeah.
It's for people just starting out who are wondering how to get started, where to start, where do I find ideas. It's all of the above.
And I think it's also just for people who like a good story.
That's right.
Like an
Some
interesting
storytelling.
interview. I think it's for people, I would say, as long as you can handle profanity. I was
Susan's
thinking
dirty
about
mouth.
like 15 to 85.
At least.
There's an 86-year-old right now shaking their cane at me.
Turning it off. Well, I guess I'm
Click.
not wanted here.
I feel
all
like
are welcome.
all are welcome.
Just like we said, all types of creativity. It's harder to talk about the visual arts without a doubt. Like sculpting and painting, we'll do our best. It is a podcast, and then
yes.
the visuals will be online or on our Instagram.
Yeah.
But we will often talk about all of the visual arts. We'll talk about writing and performing and
Research, science.
Yes,
We're getting into it.
all of it.
If it sparks us. And we hope it sparks you. Here's a question. This is an actual question from my mother.
What, Mom?
How can I access your podcast? And a follow-up from Nancy Blackwell. Do podcasts come as emails or what?
Nance, I'm so
Thanks.
glad you asked that question.
So I think if you're going to jump, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and how I access them is on my smartphone. There's a little tile on an Apple phone. It's purple, and you touch it, and it's where you can sort of have an aggregate of all the podcasts that you like. So you could search a word like creativity, comedy,
That's right.
true crime, whatever, and then you could start subscribing to podcasts, and as those podcasts get updated, it will flow into that
It'll come
feed.
right to you.
You could also probably do a similar thing on a computer. But if you're like my
totally
mom and
can.
dad and you don't have a smartphone and you don't have a computer, then your daughter Susan is going to have the brother that lives closest to you make sure that you have an old-timey
Your
tape
IT is
recorder,
up to date.
a reel-to-reel tape recorder with these sound files on it.
Well, chances are you found your way to this. So good on you.
Good job.
Good job. Like Susan said, on any of the iTunes, the Stitchers, the Spotifys, you can,
My mother's eyes are rolling back into her
she's
head.
like, now you've lost me. Now you've really lost me.
I think you need to have at the very least a computer to access.
It's not going to get to you without a computer.
There may be
Or
though.
an iPhone.
There
or
may be a
or
device now.
smartphone.
My mother has it's a little thing she keeps in her purse, and it essentially is just Wikipedia on a device that she can look things up.
No.
So there may be
way.
something like that for podcasts. I don't know. I know.
You have rendered me speechless.
Mom, we're going to figure it out. And once we
Nance,
do,
I'm sorry.
we're going to make sure that you have all of the podcasts except the ones that I think you would be scandalized by.
We'll hold those back. Susan, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about why you want to make this podcast, besides spending time with me?
I want to spend time with you. Actually, that was a big driver. Like, we were looking for a project that could sort of be at the heart, at the center of the meat of the things that we are passionate about and that we love. And then we also wanted it to, in addition to so we're super passionate about creativity and about making things, and we're spending time with each other. And then we wanted something where we could literally not put on makeup and do it in our sweatpants.
That was a big driver.
Huge.
That was a
No,
very, very
really.
big driver.
And also that I didn't have to memorize anything.
You didn't have to memorize
That's
anything.
a huge thing
That's
for me.
Sure.
Memorization, like I have to memorize so much all the time.
Yeah.
And this is, I love doing this because there is no memorization.
No, it's shocking to hear that, isn't it? But no, this isn't memorized. This is just spewing right out
What
with
if this
no
was totally
forethought.
scripted and memorized? We're the best actors in the world.
But I do think, it was a little bit like crafting our own, our own path to not only creating this project, but enhancing our own creative work.
Yes.
In all other ways. So as you'll hear from the episodes, the long form episodes that we issue weekly, we each go into our Spark file and share a story.
Our actual Spark file.
Our actual Spark file and share a story, which has led me to, taking a Spark that's inside my file and digging deeper and doing the research that I am like always thought that I would do.
Yeah.
Eventually one day I'll reach in here and do this. But this project has created a form and a deadline for me to be like, oh yeah, get in there. What else you got in there? And then what are you going to do with it?
And what are you going to do with it? It has changed the way I engage with the world.
Yes.
Just in the time we've been doing this.
Yeah. And I think that I would say one other reason that I love doing it is that we're encouraging everyone at every level to make something of it.
Yeah.
And we're not, there are times when we talk about ideas themselves, and then there are other times when we are literally just sharing ideas. And you are welcome to take them, go and get all the rights that you need to if that's the case. But you are welcome to take these ideas and make whatever you want of it. We're not afraid of what if two people are making the same thing? That's fine.
Get the rights, kids. Get the rights.
Right. If you're working within your authentic voice, you're not creating the same thing anyway. So please take it and make it.
Here's a question. What scares you most? Coming up with ideas for this podcast, making this podcast, or sharing this podcast? I'll answer that.
That's a question for myself.
I ask myself a question. Well, I have an answer right on the tip of my tongue. If I'm honest, mostly it's sharing it. I can come up with ideas. I got ideas for days and days. Talk to me in a year. I'll be like, please, someone
help me.
Put me out of my misery. But sharing it is so scary to me. And I have had several dark nights of the soul where I have been so afraid that I will be rejected, that there will be hostility, that people will be like, you're doing it wrong. You said that thing wrong. That I'll actually be doing it wrong, that I'll actually like just
you did say it wrong.
Eat it. And that that I'm going to like make mistakes, that I'm going to be, I get so scared. And I think that's pretty, based on my conversations with a lot of makers and artists, I think that fear of getting it wrong when you put it out in the world that's pretty garden variety. Like it's pretty prevalent. I was processing through this fear with my friend Hunter Bell, and he was like, there is a 100% chance you will disappoint someone.
Oh my God.
There's totally
no
will.
chance that you won't.
But so I was having a conversation with my friend Jordan the other day, because she has been getting into, Jordan, she's been getting into songwriting, and she was like, I have written like 20 songs.
Wow.
And she was like, I am so afraid I want to post a song, and I am so just hamstrung with terror of what people are going to think and say about me, and how they may judge and criticize me. In ways that she will know and ways that she will not know.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about it, and in turn sort of talking to myself about this fear that I have. And I think that not everybody, but I'll just speak for myself. I and Jordan, I'll speak for myself and Jordan. I feel like we stand at these crossroads of like, I want to share, I don't want to share. So I want to share because I want to be fully self-expressed in the world. And I don't want to share because I feel I'm going to fuck up publicly, that I'm going to feel bad, that I'm going to make other people like feel bad, that I'm going to have to learn to do better. I just feel like when you put something out in the world, you do open yourself up to criticism and other people's opinions. And if I'm honest, it scares the shit out of me. It really scares me.
It is scary. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I know that we can't speak for everyone, but it is a very prevalent feeling, and it is a barrier that a good portion of the people who create don't ever cross because it's too scary.
Yeah.
But when I think about what Hunter said, there's 100% chance you're going to disappoint someone. I think about it in the reverse. If I don't share my work, there's 100% chance I'm going to disappoint myself.
Ugh, yeah.
And so when I weigh those, and granted, like there's plenty of my work that I have not shared yet. And I've made a living as a career person, like shining the light and publicity and PR for lots of other people or producing lots of other people's work.
Shit.
And then have gotten like, I don't have time to get mine out there. And I think that's just my...
Look at you getting it out there.
That's right. Here we are getting it out there. But I think that's my version of being too scared. Like it has manifested in that, like I'll set my stuff to the side while I accomplish all of these other things for other people and other creatives. Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Hunter also said it's easier to knock down sandcastles than to build them.
It is.
And he loves that thing that you love, which is that man in the arena.
I've loved that my whole life.
I'd rather be the man in the arena, the one who's down there in the dust, like eating it. I think that's an exact quote. Down in the dust, eating it. But yeah,
it's hard though. But I think I got to give some credit to my dad. Like back in the day, I was really active in pretty much everything in high school, and there, of course, I wanted to be a cheerleader. And my dad was very adamant. He was like, no, you're not going to be a cheerleader unless you also do other things. And I was like, oh, for Pete's sake. So I was a cheerleader, but I was also on all the sports team and also in the shows and also on student council.
How could you be on sports and be a cheerleader? Were you cheering yourself?
We practiced in the morning.
You run down to the field.
And then practice after
school. Make a play, run back up, cheer yourself on.
Not for the same sport. I didn't cheer, but my dad's philosophy was like exactly that. Like, why? Like, you're going to invest all your time and energy in cheering on the person who's doing the thing.
Oh.
Instead of being the person who's doing the thing. And now granted, I still believe in cheering people on 100%. My friends, my family, all the people, all you listeners, we will be your biggest cheerleaders. However, we will also be on the fields playing as well.
Man, I'm taking these metaphors.
Because he was really like, what do you... Like it's the people out there doing the thing that you want to be doing.
Okay.
Like, and you're not taking the risk because of course those people are being criticized,
not to like, if you're an elite cheerleader, like if you're on ESPN 8, like, and you are competitive, you're doing the thing.
That wasn't the kind of thing. That wasn't the kind of cheerleading that happened at my school.
I'm just busting your metaphorical balls.
But I'm also not trying to diss cheerleaders. I'm really not, because they can be competitive. But if you're like, I'll stay on the side, the metaphor really is, I'll stay on the sidelines.
Or are you on the field?
Or in the game.
As a PR person, you feel like you've cheered on others.
It's weird because I have been like, it's sidelines, but I have had my foot on the field, like
you sure have.
On the red carpet of the Grammys, on the Emmy Awards, the this, the that. Like I am there. I'm totally Jerry Maguire.
Yeah,
just outside that photograph.
Sometimes I call that it's standing close to the fire but not getting warm.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Really, really close to the fire. So yeah,
now you're in the fire.
What?
With me tied to a stake. This Brene Brown tweeted something recently that I loved. This is a misquote. Please enjoy it, Brene Brown. It's clear that the days of engineering smallness and playing it safe to avoid criticism are over. And when she tweeted that, I was like, yeah.
Because there's no way to avoid criticism. If you do anything, it will be criticized.
Get ready. Get your rocks ready, everybody.
You know what? We may circle back and do another one of these where I'm in tears and I almost can't take it because of the criticism we've gotten. But not having launched, we haven't gotten any criticism yet.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit like, I'm okay. I'm okay because we are doing it.
I want to talk for a second about feedback.
Okay.
We do want to hear from you.
Yes, we
do. We
do.
want to hear from you sincerely. But here is the SparkFile price of admission. We will take your feedback. But before you give us feedback, maker to maker, we want to hear from you. A creative risk you have taken in your work recently. We want to hear about something that when you went to make it or create it, it gave you, maybe you were scared, maybe it gave you a visceral feeling. It's something maybe that you're in the middle of working on and it's progress, but it's not perfection yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the price of admission.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you're in the arena, you're making yourself vulnerable. You're making something.
Yeah.
We want to hear about that. We want to know how that feels for you.
And then you can give us all the feedback you want.
Give it to us. Give it to us. We'll take it.
But if you don't include the aforementioned, if you don't tell us how you've been taking a risk, it's just going to get shit canned.
Then you can go fuck yourselves.
Next question. What is a makersode?
Susan, a makersode is our version of a minisode.
And what's a minisode?
A minisode is like a small little delicious bite-sized episode of a podcast that people usually offer up once a week just to tide you over till the next episode. So our version of a minisode is a sweet and delicious conversation with a maker who is really sparking us, which is why we call them makersodes.
A makersode.
And once a week, we're going to share one of those conversations with everyone. Hopefully, they will inspire you and get you as excited as they got us.
And also, I will say, we want to hear from you all. So if you want to write to us at thesparkfile@gmail.com.
That's right.
There's also a form on our on the contact page of our website, and you can write to us through that.
That's right. You can message us on Instagram.
There may be something that has sparked you that you think, "Ooh, that'd be good for an episode."
Oh my gosh.
Or you may have made something or had a creative experience that you want to share with us, and we totally want to hear from you.
That's right.
So that's it.
That is it. Thank you so much for joining us on this crazy adventure.
We're so excited, and we can't wait to see what becomes of this.
I know. Thank you so much.
And we hope that this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Be sure to subscribe to this deliciousness wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, rate it, 5-star review it. If you liked this podcast, I hope you share it with people you love. And if you didn't like it, share it with people who suck butts.
God. If something tickled your fancy or got your creative juices flowing, we are writing you a forever permission slip to go ahead and make that thing that's been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take a spark and fan it into a flame.
You got to dream it. You got to balance beam it. If you can't do it yourself, go on and double team it.
Oh, just take it
and make it.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the SparkFile here to let you know that the doors are open for the SparkFile Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.